What is up, everybody? My name is Corey Vincent, and this is the NRG Esports Contenders AMA exclusively on our NRG community Discord channel. And I am joined by none other than four members of the NRG Contenders team that are going to debut on Tuesday. This is a big day, a big week. The path to pro starts now. I'm joined by Fahzix, Rob420, Smex, and Stratus. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty
Feeling good.
I'm feeling good.
First things first, what is life like? You guys are the only ones currently at the team house, and you guys are in Washington, D.C., one of our awesome partners, Events DC. Is it your first time in D.C. for any of you guys?
For me, it is.
For me, it is also.
Yeah, I haven't been to DC before.
It's like the third time I've been in the US, so.
Yeah, well, let's go through introductions because I feel bad. Yeah, honestly, this is the first time I've gotten to speak with a lot of you in person. So we'll start with Smex there with the Smexy accent. Where are you from? How old are you? And tell us about your journey, man.
I'm from London in the UK. I just got out of school pretty much, and then I just came straight into Overwatch. I'm 19 years old, and I just want to win. That's like my competitive drive. Is like what pushes me to be here, I guess. Because I didn't really start off. I didn't have any FPS background. I kind of started playing comp, and then I got top 500 the first season. I was like, oh, all right, maybe I can do something with this. And I just kept playing and playing, and then it just slowly paid off.
What's your competitive background in Overwatch? Where would people know? What other teams might people have recognized you or seen you play?
I played for Team UK in the World Cup, and then where we got the BlizzCon, and then I also played for Singularity in Contenders Season 1 in Europe. We came 6th, but we started late with that roster. It was a weird situation.
What was the experience like for you in the World Cup? Because that's you've kind of played on one of the biggest stages already. We love Overwatch League and it's incredible, but there's the studio and it seats, it's a regular thing. But you did that in the middle, smack dab in the middle of BlizzCon, right? Which was in a giant facility. What was that like? Was that your first time in front of that many people playing?
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever been to LAN before, and I went to the one in Santa Monica, which is also pretty huge because that's where Team USA played. But yeah, I kind of had nerves and stuff like that. But I'm good. I'm good now. I've had enough experience, gone to enough LANs now where I don't get as nerve wracked when I play. But it was an interesting experience for sure.
Cool. We'll move on.
Again.
We can move on to Stratus. Give us the rundown, man. What's your history? How old are you? Where are you from? All that good stuff.
I am 17 years old. I recently turned 17 because my birthday was in February, the 27th, and I came from Rockets Esports. That was my last team before I tried out for Contenders teams. I got into the game a little after release. Actually, I didn't play in beta, and I actually started playing Tracer a lot. And then I got into Genji because I found Genji to be more fun than I just only played Genji in ranked. I was a Genji one trick. And then I got top 500 and tried out for teams and then slowly made my way up from there. That's basically how that worked.
So 17 years old, moving into a team house in Washington, D.C. What kind of life adjustment is that for you? You feel like you're just living the American dream or what?
It's kind of weird because I'm so immersed in everything that's going on where I don't really reflect on it too much, if that makes any sense. It's not surreal to me. I'm just kind of going through it.
Wow.
It's kind of weird.
So
I don't know how to explain it.
How does the school situation work? Are you already graduated and done with all that, or do you have to take online courses? What's a 17-year-old? What's it like to be a pro?
I'm gonna be taking online courses for the most part. It'll be a mix between online schooling and homeschooling.
That's awesome. We'll go ahead and move on to Rob420, man. I've talked to you. You're my boy. We've recorded some of these videos together. I have nothing but great things to say about you, but let's let you introduce yourself to the people listening to this.
So yeah, I'm Rob420. I'm from California. 20 years old. A lot of you might know me from LG Evil, where I played with a lot of people that are in Overwatch League now, like Super on SF Shock, and Jake on Outlaws.
And what's your
And
Oh, go
I'll
ahead.
go on. Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, what's your journey been like? Because it seems like you've been around the block, and Overwatch League came out, and you're seeing a lot of your former teammates going on and doing really well, and now you're part of the Contenders League. How do you see this as your opportunity?
Well, it's pretty strange, right? Because since we that was my first team I ever played on, really, Bird Noises, before I got picked up by LG and Hammers. To think about it, I really was in the tier 1 scene from the very beginning. I never really had to start from the minor leagues, climb up. So being able to get in contenders now is pretty awesome. I'm really happy about being able to just grind the game.
All right, man. A guy who's a very consistent streamer, a very hilarious streamer. I've gotten to watch a lot of your highlights just through the last couple of weeks, and I have to say I am definitely a fan. Fahzix, how you doing, man? Tell us about yourself.
Sure. I'm Fahzix, obviously. I was born in '94, so I'm 23 years old in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So DC is not very far from me. I just drove here. It was only like 3-4 hour drive at most. I'd say I started going competitive a little bit later than most. I was more of like a streamer, and I had a part-time job, so I didn't really have time for scrims and all that quite yet. But once my stream started to pick up, I started to quit my part-time job because I made more money from streaming. And then with that, it allowed me to be able to scrim as well because I had more time during the day. And so I started with like teams like Tempo Storm and Method. I only tried with them. I didn't get officially picked up or anything, but it was a good start for me. And then I eventually got picked up by Cat 5, which I know some of you might know. It was with Coffee, Gravy, Darksma, etc., etc. And we struggled a lot. It was my first actual like real team experience, I'd say, in this game. And then we eventually got picked up by Envision, which was a little small org in Montreal. And we eventually made it to 3rd, 4th in Contenders Season 0. So that was pretty big for all of us. We all got recognized pretty well.
So tell me just about like the path of being a pro, but starting off as being known for your stream. Do you feel like that's more difficult to balance? You see stuff going on with like Seagull balancing his stream life and his professional life, and then you can go on and on about XQC and all these other guys. What do you think the advantages are of starting as a streamer, and what do you think some of the disadvantages can be?
For now, I'd say starting this late in Overwatch is going to be difficult because most people are already established, and back when I started streaming, like most people weren't really established aside, like Envious or those big names, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to get recognized at the moment as like a streamer, like a small streamer, and then also as a Contenders player, or trying to get to Contenders, I should say.
And then what about just that balance of keeping a healthy stream versus actually getting practice in with the squad and stuff like that? Are you fully prepared to like give up on some of your stream hours, or are you going to continue to? Is it really important to you to continue to balance those things out?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Well, before I moved to the house, I had a good bit of time to stream, I'd say. Like after scrims, we talked for a little bit, and then around like 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I would start my stream and then go to bed around like 3 to 4, and then trying to balance it like that. It's a lot of Overwatch every day, but I don't know. I'm not opposed to streaming or playing the game for super long every day. I don't feel like I'm getting burnt out by any means. I do enjoy playing the game a lot, so it's not like it's not like a or a chore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To scrim and then stream. It's not like I have to stream again or something like that, I do enjoy turning on the stream and talking to people,
Awesome. Well, like we said,
that aspect.
like we said, if you're listening to this, we'd really appreciate a retweet on Twitter to let people know, jump up in here, ask their best questions. You can do that above right here at the AMA questions tab, and we'll ask one or two more questions that I have on my list here, and then we'll start jumping into your guys' questions. I want to go through down the line, starting with Stratus, and just tell me about Washington D.C. so far, because that's a big part of this. That's where you guys are staying. That's where we're planting our flag, so to speak. So, what do you feel about Washington D.C. and your excitement towards representing?
I think my favorite thing about DC so far is the weather. I know the rest of my teammates don't like it that much, but it's like constantly cold and like constantly sometimes sunny. So like you're warm, but you're also cold. You know what I mean? It's just the nicest weather for me ever. But I also hate the heat, so I'm extremely biased.
Have you gotten a chance to like see the big like the pillar, the big why do I call it the pillar, because the Smite guys called it the pillar, but the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial and all that cool stuff. How are you? Have you gotten a chance to go look at that stuff?
No, we haven't yet.
Oh man, I got to get down there because Washington D.C. I'm from Sacramento, West Coast, best coast. But I love Washington D.C. It's one of the coolest places. So we'll have to get out there and get you to all these monuments. Smex, what about you? Coming from, across the pond, as people like to say, what's D.C. like for you?
Like the weather's like exactly the same. It's just like kind of cold, and that's it. But it's like I don't know. There's a bit more sun here. It's more grey in the UK. It's nice though. I like it. It's like everything's pretty chill.
Have you had a chance to venture out into the city a little bit more?
I got here like 3 days ago now. So I've just been like grinding because we got a game in like 2 days or something like that. So maybe next weekend when we might get a break, I might venture out.
You definitely should. There's some amazing food places out there. You guys got to get to Ben's Chili Bowl. You guys got to go to Smoked and Stack. You guys got to go to Blue Jacket. Well, I guess there's only one of you guys. Two of you guys are over 21, right? Yeah, you can go to Blue Jacket there, grab some of that craft beer. Rob420, how are you liking Washington, D.C.?
I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm loving DC, honestly. I've never been to the East Coast. Furthest I've ever gone was Texas before when I went to PAX. But as you can tell, since I'm from SoCal, I live in a desert in SoCal. The weather is very different. I'm used to like 110-degree summers. Winters can get kind of cold, but it's nothing compared to like the constant 32 degrees it's here. I like it though.
What do you think of like? I'm from Northern California, been to Southern California a lot, and it was quite different being in DC for the first time. Just kind of like the way that the buildings all look, like it just looks so, I don't even know the word. What do you think about the architecture and stuff?
So I haven't really gotten a chance to like look around that much, but I understand what you mean. You mean I think you mean like the architecture is probably from a much older time rather than the modern look that most buildings in California have. I really like it.
Are there things you're looking forward to seeing out there?
Yeah, I definitely want to go to the Capitol. Definitely want to look at all the monuments, Lincoln Memorial. But we've all been grinding. We've just actually been playing the game. Haven't had a day off. Feels good. It feels good. No, really.
Fahzix, same question. What's DC like? Have you been there before? What did you expect, and what are you experiencing?
I mean, like I said, I'm only 4 hours out, so I've already expected the weather. I've been to DC twice for field trips back in middle school and high school, so it's not like I haven't been here before, but I don't know. I like it. It's nice to get away from, your parents and stuff.
Like you said, you drove, so you have a car. They're going to be using you to get everywhere. I'm assuming that's how it's going to work. And
until Derek's gone, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Derek's still here, so he's still taxing people.
Daddy Derek. Yeah, our incredible manager, Derek, who's doing an insane job with you guys and our CS:GO team undefeated. So shout out to Derek. If you see him in the chat, let's give him a little bit of love. But I mean, you've been there as a kid and through high school, or through, you were saying field trips. It's way different. Like, I think you're actually gonna enjoy DC, especially being someone who's of legal drinking age. I got some recommendations for you after the show. I'll send you some messages. But now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my lovely assistant. You know her all over this Discord channel and the SF Shock Discord channel is our NRG and Shock community manager, Erin Roselle. How are you doing?
I'm good. Been up for a few hours.
Oh, man. Yeah, time change is murderous. But thank you for, I know you've been in here moderating the questions, getting them whittled down to a select few of really, really good questions, right?
Yep.
All right, what's the first one?
Okay, let me start with something for Contenders team. What team do you look forward to playing most?
I don't know. Probably our first game is going to be a really good game against Fusion.
Yeah, you guys are playing against Fusion University team. What do you know about the players on that team, Smex? And who are you looking to match up against there?
I mean, they got a pretty alright Genji player, I guess. I guess he's alright, but I think we should be fine. Like, we kind of have an idea of what we want to do around this team. I think we haven't scrimmed them before. I don't think we've ever scrimmed them actually. So we have no idea like how they match up to us. So it's going to be an interesting game.
Stratus, who are you looking forward to playing the most?
I would actually have to say the same answer. I know it's kind of lame, but I've been so tunneled on this first match where it's like I'm really excited to play against Philadelphia Fusion. We haven't played against each other in scrims at all, just because we've been avoiding each other from first match, and also they're in the same group as us. So we usually like to avoid people in the same group as us. But I think it'll be really fun. I know like Zachary's a really good DPS. I know Who Are You is a really good DPS, and their tanks are good as well. And Alarm's nuts. Alarm's always been nuts, so it'll be interesting. I'm excited.
Rob420, what do you think?
So I'm also pretty excited about playing Fusion, but I think the teams that will like probably be really close, the ones I'm really excited to play against, are Gladiators Legion and Toronto Esports. Their teams are just so well coordinated, and the one that strikes out to me, that stands out for me, is Gladiators, since they have Rolf. He really is like the top dog of Zenyatta players. He really is the best Zen player outside of Overwatch League. So I'm pretty excited to see how I'm going to match up to him in an actual match.
Mr. Fahzix.
Oh, this one's an obvious answer. Come on. Envision. But yeah, I was a part of Envision for a very long time, so that's really about it. Not much else.
So, there's a big emphasis on that. This is the path to pro, Contenders path to pro. This is how you jump into that Overwatch League. This is your time to get noticed. But at the same time, like, it's very, 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 very important that you're still playing as a team so you can get those overall wins. How do you balance like wanting to be the star who pops off and gets, picked up by an Overwatch League team, and staying focused on the task and winning these matches? I guess I'll start with Stratus on that one.
I think the most important thing you can do for yourself, like while also contributing to your team, is being flexible about your hero picks. So if you're in a situation where you just can't follow up with your, I'm not talking about Bastion recontests or Doomfist but just occasionally, let's say like, I don't know, I'm not doing something well on Genji, like I'll switch over to a Sombra Tracer comp, because sometimes just the damage output is more meaningful, and like I'll perform better individually, like it'll look better for me. Like things like that, just small adjustments, I think, playstyle wise and like hero pick wise, are things to balance that out.
What do you think, Fahzix? The balance of individually having a great performance but being a team player.
That's a hard question.
That's
it's a little bit harder for supports to answer, to be honest, because
Yeah.
we're more of the enablers rather than the carriers. So I would say it's more along the lines of if we all perform really well and we get number one, for example, I feel like we'd all get recognized pretty easily rather than just individuals.
Cool, Aaron. What's the next question?
All right. Um. Oh, by the way, that was from Ye, or as I pronounce it, Ye triple capital H.
Thank you.
Okay.
And it looks like Stratus is getting a lot of compliments in chat for his voice. So we're gonna have to target you for some of these voiceover tutorials. It looks like because
Still young.
Ooh.
yeah.
Let him grow up first.
All right, next question is from Bucko. What made you pick your main role in Overwatch? What draws you to wanting to take DPS, heal, etc. over other aspects of the game?
Great question. We'll start with Mr. Rob.
So, little known fact about me is when I was teetering in competitive Overwatch, when I would play ranked, and at my very first team that wasn't very successful, I actually played DPS. I was a big McCree player, just a general hit scan, but along that time I would play Zenyatta back when he had 150 health. He was a very terrible hero. Ultimate was just awful, but I loved playing him. I loved using the really fast projectiles on him, and I saw that like this hero is like it's so the skill ceiling is really high on him. I thought it was probably one of like the most interesting heroes because I've never seen it in a different game. All his mechanics are very unique. I think it's probably one of Blizzard's best characters they've ever made, whether you want to talk about the visual design or the actual gameplay mechanics. So just because of Zenyatta, I decided to switch over to flex support, even though I ended up playing a bunch of Ana afterwards. But now we're dominating in the Zen meta, so I'm real happy.
What do you think about the Mercy meta being gone? And personally, how do you feel about all that?
So first of all, I'm really glad it's gone. It made games pretty uninteresting to watch, and it was a terrible time for DPS players. I really wish we could get the game in a meta where both supports are flex supports. I'd love to see the game if it's just like Zen and Ana, because those are the characters that have the most mechanical skill required to play them at a really high level. I think it'd be great for the game as well.
I thought it was interesting, and I'd like to hear your opinion because a lot of people love to play Ana, but we interviewed Sleepy last week, and he was saying that as much as he loves that character and wants to play her, Coach Junkbuck was saying that it's just still not enough guaranteed productivity. Like it still requires
I feel the exact same way actually. I love Ana. I never knew I'd enjoy her so much, but during quad tank meta, I felt really confident on her. I could do so much on her. But and I still love playing her, but I never will. And I actually will get very upset if I see an Ana on my team. If I'm playing ranked, I'll get really upset. And I'll tell them to switch off because she's actually just such a terrible hero. She's been a terrible hero for the past two metas, or not two metas, like 2 or 3 seasons. She's actually been probably one of the worst picks you can have on a team because the main difference from all the other supports is that they don't have a limited resource to heal from. You don't have to reload to heal on Zen, or the Mercy Beam is just continuous. So a big part of why Ana can't keep up with the healing is because you have to reload. You only have 10 shots. That's a lot of time spent just taking damage for free. She also can't heal through walls, which is something that, even though it seems like a minor thing, it really can change the fight, especially in dive meta. Those little things. And they did a bunch of these nerfs back when she was really overpowered in season 2 or 3. And even though dive wasn't completely developed back then, it wasn't an established meta. They did these little tweaks, and by the time that dive really rolled out, Ana is now just in a really terrible place because your nade is on a 12-second cooldown. Oh, no, sorry, it's that's the sleep. Your nade's like on an 8-second cooldown, and the radius is really small, and the time that you get to anti-heal someone is only 3 seconds. So the time you have to capitalize, even if you do hit the nade, is just too little. The impact she has is just terrible, even if you are very mechanically gifted on her.
Great question, man. That's like a gold mine of information for you supports out there. So maybe let's hold off on some of these Ana picks until she's in a better spot. As much as we love her, Smex, what about you?
So I don't know. I just messed around with a bunch of different heroes until I found ones that I liked. And so season 1 I played loads of Reinhardt and ranked. loads of Zarya as well. I played both of them together, and then I eventually got onto a team, and then that's where I started playing Zarya more and more, and then I started focusing on Zarya. But then triple tank meta came around, and we didn't have a hog player, so I just completely switched off playing Zarya. I haven't played Zarya like since then, really. That was the last time I played, last Zarya meta I played in, which was the Reaper May meta, which was a long time ago.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're taking me back with that one.
Yeah. So after that, I just kept playing Hog because Hog was like kind of meta, and then D.Va became meta, and I just started playing D.Va because I was like an off-tank player. I wasn't the DPS player. I didn't focus on playing Genji or McCree or Widow, stuff like that.
How much time are you putting into labbing Brigitte? Do you think that this is going to be a character that's going to fall under your responsibility to play? And if so, what are some things you're learning about her?
I think it's either going to be my responsibility or it's going to be Stratus. It's one of us, but we're not sure. We haven't really like even thought about it yet because we're not playing on that patch for like a long while. I think it'll be like Contenders Season 2 before we'll be able to play her. So it's a long while from now.
Okay, so you have plenty of time. I wasn't aware of that. So you do have plenty of time just to focus on the current patch and then lab that kind of stuff later. What do you think of her? Just rough thoughts of what you've seen and tried so far.
I think she's like pretty good at like being this scary like mini shield for your supports, and that's about it. Like I don't think she's gonna be like, you're gonna see very defensive playstyle out of her. You're not gonna see her like running in the front line, you know, trying to get stuns on. Maybe you can go for like a stun Earth Shadow play, which would be kind of nice. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if it goes through the shield. I assume it does.
Her shield bash does cause Reinhardt's shield to lower for like a second.
Yeah, so like you can do like combos and stuff like that with it. It's gonna be pretty cool if you get to see that. But the biggest thing is that she's kind of good with dealing with Tracer. Like if you can't do the quick bash anymore that used to before. Like there's a small delay now, I think, right? They like changed the animations. So, but if it comes down to it, I'll just learn the mechanics to play the hero, and it should be okay. The hero doesn't look overly complex.
Stratus, he put that on. He says either me or you. What do you think of her so far, and the prospects of maybe having to pick up this hero?
So I'm actually not sure how good her healing output is, but I know, like similar to Lucio, like you have the ability to peel like very few other heroes can. So one of the things I just thought of in my head while we were talking was like you could basically just have a damage boosted McCree hiding behind the small shield, and that would be really annoying to deal with as a Genji or as a Tracer. You literally would have zero impact on the game, just having a McCree walk around with that. And I don't know. That's like the first thing that popped up in my head. But I imagine, like for the most part, tank comps are going to be a huge thing once the character comes out because she's essentially like a frontline tank healer. You're enabling your tanks while also tanking. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Like especially with the way her ultimate works, it's going to be interesting to see how like people play around that.
And I think we'll round out this round of question with Fahzix.
Sure. Back in when I played League semi-pro, I was a shot caller on my team, so I thought of, what could be a shot caller in this game, and I picked just support. It wasn't really like main or flex support, it was just support. I ended up playing like the Zen role first, so I picked the wrong support for shot calling, sadly enough. It's a little bit too hard to balance positioning, shot calling, all tracking, all that at once with that hero. It's just way too much to think about. So during Envision, I was kind of stuck playing a role that not to say that I didn't want to play, but it wasn't for me exactly. And then I swapped to main support on this team, and it's been working out pretty well.
What are some things that you're finding that you like about it? Do you just like?
I'll do the things that I don't like about it first. I'd say like I feel like I can't really control the game as much as I used to. Because Zenyatta was the core of most teams. So it feels like on Lucio and Mercy, I can't really control the pace of the game as much as I'd like to. But in return, I can focus more on the things that I first wanted to start with was strat calling and countering different tendencies of teams and stuff like that. I really enjoy doing all that kind of stuff and studying that and figuring out what's strong against what people and stuff like that.
Cool. Question just to go down the list, and we can do this one kind of quick before we get to the next AMA question. But I mean, you guys are the I don't know what you want to call it, the sister team, the university team, basically you guys are closely tied to the SF Shock, and will be working together quite a bit on, you know, scrimming each other and in strategies, and there's special advantages to having a team like this that's not an Overwatch league that you could scrim against, so you're not giving up like your pro strats and then your tricks and things like that. So what's it been like working with them so far, and how do you see the relationship making you a better player, Stratus?
Sorry, what? Hit that again?
So working with the SF Shock. Yeah.
Distracted?
Yeah, distracted. Plugging his Strat Discord in the chat. Tell me about working with the SF Shock and how you feel it's going to make your team better.
I think the biggest thing that we like benefit from with working with SF Shock, especially with Sinatra and Super, is like we get like different ways of playing the game that we don't normally with our full roster. So like Super and Sinatra both have different playstyles from Butcher and Damien, obviously. But also, like, aside from that, playing against SF Shock, I think the biggest thing that I've had to deal with personally is like the way that they play their backline. Like they play really peel heavy for baby base, so like we get really good practice against a really good counter dive team. So it's essentially like we get like really high level practice against a unique playstyle. So I think it kind of like diversifies like the kind of practice we get. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does. And like you said, like you know, you guys actually got to play a little more with Super and Sinatra because obviously they're not eligible in Overwatch League yet. They will be very soon in the next week. We'll be seeing some Sinatra play. He turns 18 on the 18th. But what's it like? How good are these guys? How excited should Shock fans be to see these guys in the lineup?
They are good. Dude, I like whenever I die, I just look to the kill cam, not the kill cam, sorry, the death cam, and I spectate Sinatra, who just triple blinks backline, hits a sticky, kills 2 people, and then like one clips another guy. It's great. It's great.
Oh, it gets me excited, man, because these guys are so. I just can't wait. I just can't wait to see these guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
Smex, same question. What's it like working with the SF Shock boys, and how do you feel it's going to positively impact your guys' team?
Well, it provides us with like this like I don't know how to describe it. This like chain of like passing down strategies, techniques, different ways to play the games. You know, they play against players in Overwatch League. They all have their different styles. They might incorporate that into their own gameplay. We might see something we like and we're like, okay, let's try do that. Let's try to do something similar. You know, and then like I think that's kind of like already happened, like where we've seen something or. I don't know, maybe they've seen some, I don't know, something like that, and they've just kind of like taken parts of it and want to play around it and see how it works for them as well. So it's pretty nice to have a team that you can like play the same map again and again if you just want to grind that map, you know? So you can like really stress the importance of the map if you feel like it's your weak map, and you can get good time on it rather than just one map as like to scrim.
And, you know, same question I asked Stratus. What was it like getting to play with Sinatra and Super? How good are these guys?
Yeah, I think they're gonna like contribute greatly to the the Shock team once they get played.
Rob420, you have history with Super. What's it like, you know, still kind of being connected with him and being able to work together and be on part of the same team?
Pretty awesome, actually. Like, you know, Super and I go way back. We love each other. So whenever we get to play, either if it's either against or if he's subbing in for our team, it's always just a good time. Like a little bit of rivalry from the old team.
He's a bit of a big brain, you know. So what are some things that you guys were able to learn from you know your time getting to play with Super and Sinatra?
So it's really, how can I say this? Like, Sinatra is just he's a really amazing pacer. He's just a mechanical god. So just expect him to kind of shred everything up while he's in there. And Super's tank play, honestly, in my opinion, it's just gotten even better since the last time I saw him. because although he's bench, he's still been practicing with the team, so he still gets to play and benefit from the SF Shock roster, which this Al team has been playing against all these really top tier teams in the Korean teams as well, like Dynasty, and they've been performing really well. So as you can tell, they've they've really been progressing in their first stage of play, and it really shows throughout the roster. And I think once like Shock, once Super and Sinatra just get cemented into that, it's just going to be a ton better. They'll really benefit from it.
It was fun interviewing these guys, because we do these AMAs with Shock all the time and the post-game pressers, and I was asking them a lot about you guys, and they were, first of all, very complimentary and very confident in your guys' skills. But one of the things they said, without giving up any details, obviously, and I don't want you to give up any details, but they said you guys kind of will run some pretty nutty strategies that will kind of take them off guard, and they have to be like, hey guys, can you maybe just play a normal comp so we can get some Overwatch League practice? But
Yeah. We have like people that kind of play like niche heroes sometimes, so we can take advantage of that and play something that you don't typically see. Like I like to play Roadhog. That's just a small leak, but sometimes we put that into our games.
Fahzix, what do you think about the relationship with SF Shock, and how's it making your guys a better team?
Well, hey, since everyone has been doing positive things, I'm gonna throw out some negative things. It's not gonna be like bad. It's gonna be bad. Okay. So we scrim on different patches, so it kind of sucks for us because we can't practice. The Sombra patch. Sombra's not extremely strong on the Overwatch League patch, obviously. So it's a little bit of a different meta when we scrim them. It's not bad in a sense, because what's good about Shock is that they keep us tight, and if we slack off for like even a second, like they'll punish us very, very badly for it. So it's very good for keeping comms tight and teamwork tight and stuff like that. But yeah, playing on different patches sucks. Also, we tend to see like a lot of the same from them, so we can counter it and kind of metagame them, and that's also not that great for us. It's good to like identify like weaknesses in teams and then exploit them, but a lot of the times it's just metagaming, and it's not going to help us too much. I guess it can, but not really in the long run.
Cool. What do we got, Aaron? Next fan question.
All right, let's go for some fun ones. They want to know your favorite voice lines and any diva impressions.
Oh my gosh.
And those are from Toxinus and Cassidai.
I knew it was Cassidai. Feel free not to answer.
Please do. I want to hear these.
She does cringy questions sometimes.
I think they're fun.
I don't think I have a diva impression. Let me load up Overwatch. Wait 1 second.
Favorite voice? Who asked these questions? It must be Cassidai.
No, Toxinus asked the favorite voice lines.
Voice line.
Okay, that one's not so bad. The diva impression is the one I'm more.
Only because
upset.
Cassidai asked it?
Maybe I'm just being toxic, but.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I don't. My favorite voice line. I really can't think of one on the spot. I don't.
Pick one from a troll hero. That's how I do it.
You know what? Back on Envision, we used to scrim Jesus a lot, the J3. He used to play only Tracer against Gravy, and they would both have the same voice lines. It was too slow on Tracer, and you would just hear them spamming the voice lines 1v1ing each other, blinking around the map. It was
I used to do something similar, like just keep spamming it, but people started realizing when I was flanking on Hog, they could just listen to me spamming, like, I think it was Piece of Cake. The voice line I spammed repeatedly. And they heard it like in their spawn, and they just turned around and chased me down. So I had to stop doing that.
Anyone else want to take a shot at this one, Rob?
Well, yeah, I do got a favorite voice line I can think of. It's "How Disappointing" by Zenyatta. The best line here. It's such a humble Omnic in the lore, and after you two-tap a Tracer, just kind of stand over the body and drop that one.
Fahzix, favorite voice line that you maybe enjoy spamming?
Me personally, I don't know. I don't really. Maybe hello. Is that a voice line? Does
Oh,
that
wow.
count? I don't know. I don't do any hero voice lines, so we'll go with that one.
I think for Lucio, the funniest one. Sometimes I'll just die when that's how you get tinnitus over and over and over again. Or Diva's Happy Halloween.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Halloween's
Actually.
too good.
I was just scrolling through and I realized this is my favorite voice line.
That's funny. You knock a Diva out of mech, and then she just bounces around the map yelling, Happy Halloween!
It's terrifying.
It is. It's scary in a way. And then, like I said, Cassadai asked terrible questions. Wanted to know if any of you have a Diva impression. And actually, we did have Nevix do it on our last AMA. So
Highlight of the AMA.
it was the highlight of the AMA. Does anybody have a Diva impression they would like to lay down?
No, not really.
Perfect. That's
Something I
fine.
specialize in.
No, it actually makes me happy that you're not going to do it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Next question.
Okay, and another funnish one. Have you visited any big sites at the DC? Hold on, that came out wrong. I guess specifically, have you visited the Smithsonian?
No, I don't think any of us have done like any exploring yet.
I have, but that was during a field trip, so I don't know if that counts. It's a little
Yeah.
different.
That counts.
Which one did you see?
Everything, I guess.
Oh, you went to all the Smithsonians? Because
National
there's like,
Monument, Lincoln Memorial, all that stuff.
I think you learn a lot about a person by like which Smithsonian they want to see. So there's like the American history, where you could see like the very first U.S. flag. You can go to the space one, where you can see all the space stuff. There's the natural history, where you can see the T-Rex bones. Is there a particular Smithsonian that you want to see more than the others, Stratus?
Probably the history one. I like the war stuff. That stuff's interesting to me.
Yeah, they have like Lincoln's hat is there. Like, there's all sorts of really cool stuff at that one. That is one of the cool ones. What about Smex? You know, you're in a new country. Which one seems the most
See,
exciting?
I'm more of like a history person. I've always been like interested in history. So
When I went to the Capitol building, I was with Iraffer, who is also from England, and he's a Smite player. And I felt bad going through the Capitol tour because the whole thing was basically them talking bad about England and getting our freedom and how awful England is and how we whoop their butts and stuff. So it's like, it's a little cringe for my English friends over there. Are you ready?
I mean, the English always have like an excuse for that, you know. They always just put it on the fact that we're a small island and we can't do anything about that. We just took advantage of the time, you know.
So I'm just warning you. So when you go to the American History Museum, be prepared to get a lot of crap about your home. Rob, what do you think? What are you most excited to see, and why do I assume it's going to be the Air and Space Museum?
Oh, well, you got it, yeah. I'm definitely excited to go to the Air and Space one because, well,
How did I guess
you
that?
know, I'm not sure. I've always been big on astronomy.
Oh, there's a really amazing theater in the Air and Space Museum that you have to go check out. It's like you sit in this IMAX thing, you lean your chair back, and you look at the ceiling, and they just project this incredible.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Neil
I have to
deGrasse
do that.
Tyson comes out there. Not he doesn't come out there, but you hear his voice, and he like shows you all. Yeah, that's one you definitely got to check out. What about you, Fahzix? What are you looking forward to? You more of a natural science guy, T-Rex bones, history, or like space?
I like the Air and Space. I liked it when I went there the first time, so I'm curious to see like what all they implemented and stuff since I've been there, which is a long time ago. So kind of curious.
Very cool. Aaron, next question.
Oops, I was muted. Thank you, by the way, Fossilized Lemonade, for that question. Okay, we'll go back to Overwatch. What exactly goes on in a contenders team?
So we get up, get some breakfast, and we play comp for a couple of hours, I guess, and then we probably scrim scrim one block, or we do a review, and then scrim again, and we'll probably have a review block at the end of the day as well. And then we usually finish around like 9, 11, something like that. And we start around either 3 or 5. It depends on the day and what we're doing to start off with. So there's not much to it, but you stay engaged for like the majority of the day, and it can like get like mentally tiring. Like if you're just like constantly focused and keeping your like brain stimulated the whole time, then like at the end of the day you'll feel it where like your head is just like feels like it's like sinking in your body. It's horrible, but
how is the coach? How is the coach, and what areas do you feel like you've improved the most since you've joined this Contenders team?
So like our team coordination is like getting like better, like day by day. People are like being more vocal now. Like we're having pre-strats and stuff like that. We're sorting out our re-engages and all like the important stuff. Target focus, like target, and then we're also like fixing like basic, like not like basic stuff, but like the foundations are like getting fortified, and then like we're adding stuff on top of it pretty much at this point. And 9K is helping us a lot with that.
Stratus, what about you? What's it like being a contender? What's the schedule like? And as far as the coaching staff goes, how do you feel you've become a better player?
I would say the schedule is like pretty much exactly what Smex said, but for me it's a little bit different. I start my daily regiment with hard Osu grinding, and then I go on to Aim Hero, solid 30 minutes, and then I just go into the game, do like random aim stuff, and then play comp like the rest of the time until scrims basically. Eventually I'll try to stick streaming in there, but I don't really stream that frequently right now. But I will try to eventually.
And then improvement with the coaching staff. Where do you feel like you've improved the most?
I think the biggest thing that has improved for me individually with the coaching staff, hi 9K, but is my understanding of the game. I think having like a different perspective on how the game works has been really, really helpful for me. Because I usually play on teams that just played super aggressive, where you just like hard charge in, like, you know, it's a very linear way of playing the video game, and I would just kind of do that, you know, press my Genji left shift button, get resets, and then everything was a-okay. But now it's a little more complicated, which I think is a good thing. But for me, it's been difficult. Like that's one thing that 9K and I were talking about yesterday. So, but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is how it's changed my understanding of the game, is to be a little bit more complex.
That's
I have
awesome.
to use my brain now.
That is awesome. Fahzix, same question. I guess we kind of already know the regiment. Do you have any extra things that you add on there besides the streaming, or and then on top of that, how do you feel like 9K and the coaching staff has made you a better player?
Sure. A lot of people like warming up a lot before they play scrims, and I mean that's good on like mechanical heroes, but for me, I try my best not to overly warm up so I can keep my energy throughout the day. It's kind of important for someone who talks the most, I'd say, on the team, to make sure that they're keeping that same level of energy throughout the whole day and not teetering off and anything like that. Or if I, get up too early and I practice for 3 hours before scrims, I'm, once scrim starts, already 4 hours of Overwatch, and then once scrims ends, I'm like 10 hours of Overwatch, and it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try my best not to overly warm up or anything like that. 9K has been helping everybody a lot. I'd say more than any coach that I've ever had. It's pretty insane. I forget who. I think Smex answered it, where he did, retakes and set strats and all that kind of stuff for us. It's kind of nice to be able to bring up your own personal things to him, and then he kind of implements them into like, set plays or something like that. So it's really nice to have that kind of tool to have in order to get better. It's good for us because we get better quicker than if we didn't have him. We would still be kind of stuck with, target calling, like, oh, he's the target caller here, or, some set plays like we won't have those drills and stuff like that to go over. Most teams don't really have that resource like we do, so we're very lucky.
Awesome. Rob, same thing. Do you have any special things that you do in your schedule on top of your guys' already very busy practice schedule? And then how has 9K made you a better player?
Yeah, sometimes in the morning I'll like to play a little bit of OC, just like 10 minutes just to get like my flicks kind of going. That's really all it's good for since Zenyatta isn't hit scan, and I'll play probably about an hour and a half of ranked right before scrims because that's really the best practice you can get on a hero like that since it's not heavily influenced by mechanical aim. 9K has really helped me a lot with my positioning. I think the thing any support player can really benefit from is having better positioning because it will help you enable your teams so well. And from a team perspective, our coach has really made us understand how the game works, as funny as it sounds, as simple as that is. It's understanding ults and understanding how the game works and learning set counter strats and all that.
Cool. And I mean, that takes us to the end, guys. It's been an hour, 10:55 at the moment of this recording. I want to thank everybody who's in the Discord channel and let you guys know that pretty much immediately following this, in about 30 minutes, we're going to set things up, and we're going to have a SF Shock AMA over in that Discord where we'll be talking to Dante and Nomi. And a lot to talk about after the matches yesterday and looking forward ahead of to having Super and Sinatra join. So we'll have a lot of questions. Get over there, ask your questions, follow on the Twitter at SF Shock to get the links to everything if you need it. Actually, and I think we have mods in here who can post some links in this chat. As we mentioned before, if you missed the beginning, NRG Esports is giving away a Samsung Galaxy S9. I don't even think this phone comes out for like another 5 days. But you have a chance to win it. It's the pinned tweet, and we're also giving away 8 sets of Logitech G Pro gear. So thank you guys so much to our friends over at Logitech for providing all these awesome prizes. We'll just kind of go down the list, and this will be like the last chance to hear from these guys before their big match on Tuesday versus the Philadelphia Fusion's University team. Just what's going through your head, Stratus, ahead of your big debut in Contenders?
I think for me personally, like moving and everything, it has made me had to put like extra time into adjusting properly. Like basic things like just aiming or even movement have been a little bit harder. So the main thing I'm most concerned about is like being warmed up properly. Like I want to have a really good mindset, and I want to be ready to like actually press buttons correctly, move my mouse correctly, you know? So I think it's just a matter of getting in warm up beforehand.
And then what can you say about this as far as like, you know, chasing down the dream, the path to pro, all of the stuff that we've heard about and seen on Twitter? How is this affecting you and your mindset and thinking about your future? Because you're only 17.
It's difficult. I don't know, but it's like, I mean, like the idea of like this path to pro thing and like, you know, living the dream kind of thing. It is like pretty much like that. Like I started out in like open season, right, and then made my way into like tryouts for contenders teams, and like come a couple months beforehand, I wasn't sure like I was going to even be in contenders, and I thought, you know, I was kind of spooked, like I wasn't going to make it in anything. But you know, now that I have, it's pretty crazy. I'm really excited.
Smex, same question. Talk to us about just what this opportunity means to you and how close you are to being in the Overwatch League and how that goes into your mindset.
Well, it's pretty nice. Like the opportunity of like moving, because like where I was playing before, I'd have to like I was staying up to like 4 a.m. right, but I had like an awkward sleeping situation, so I couldn't even like speak properly. I couldn't even comm correctly and stuff like that. So coming here has made it a lot easier because you know I can just speak like whenever I want. I don't have to use push to talk, stuff like that. So it's helped me like speak, like comm more, as well as I don't know. I'm staying more focused on the game, right? Because before I kept getting distracted because I had like a niece and a nephew with me, and they were like running around behind me, like screaming, you know, and stuff like that. So it helps a lot with being around people that don't scream in the background. Well, they do, but it's about the same thing, so it's okay.
Fahzix, talk to us about living the dream, how close you guys are to being in the Overwatch League and what this opportunity means.
It obviously means a lot after getting essentially, I guess, kicked from Envision. I I mean, I've been exploring a bunch of different options, so it's good to find another home. To be honest, it's quite relieving. I don't know. I don't really think too much about like the matches and stuff. I kind of just take it day by day and just work from the bottom up. Take it really slow.
Rob, you've been in this game for a long time. This is your path to the Overwatch League, your path to pro. The dream is almost there. Just take us through your mindset heading up into this first week of matches.
Pretty nervous actually, because it feels like this is my second opportunity to get in Overwatch League since I've been playing the game for that long. The whole moving situation was a bit rough for me specifically because since we all moved like at different dates, pretty much like one day apart, we weren't able to practice all that time, and that just gets me worried. We've been doing really well in practice recently, so that's always a good sign. But also the adjustment of being in a team house is also really new for me because even though I've been playing for quite a while, I've never been in a team house or ever been to a LAN. My setup at home is quite awkward because my keyboard and mouse weren't level. So finally having like a flat desk to finally play was really weird. Like actually being able to hold my mouse correctly was really insane.
Well, we're excited for you guys to get this opportunity. I know I'll be watching this one very closely like the rest of us will. If you guys are in this chat, thank you guys so much for asking your questions, taking the time. We'll be doing plenty more of these with these guys. We'll keep you all up to date with all the stuff they're doing behind the scenes also on our Twitter at NRG GG. We'll have behind the scenes photos, some videos. We'll do wrap ups and more AMAs just to make sure that you guys can go on this journey with these guys. This is a huge chance. These are the stars of tomorrow that you'll see on that big stage of Overwatch League. So for you guys in here, you guys are getting the ground level of being able to really watch these guys' journey progress from just moving into this team house to growing as players. You'll see them go through the victories. You'll see the defeats, everything. We're gonna hopefully no defeats, but that's the journey that you guys were asking you to go on with us. So thank you guys all for your time. My name is Corey. Thank you so much, Smex, Fahzix, Rob, and Stratus for taking the time to hang out, and have a good day of practice, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right.
It's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Later, guys.
Peace.
See ya.
See ya, boys.
Bye-bye.